Hi everyone, Jason here at the Whittier Public Library with our first STEAM-powered science take and make science activity. So as you know, STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So today we're going to do a fun activity, we're going to learn some science, and we're going to add a little bit of creativity. That's the art part of STEAM. So today's activity is chicken in a cup. And no, I don't mean this type of chicken in a cup. There's actually a chicken inside this plastic cup. Can you see it? Can you see the chicken in there? Yeah, I can't either. But we're going to use the principles of sound and vibration, and we're going to try and get that chicken to come out of the cup. Okay, so let's get started. Hopefully you picked up one of our kits from the library. If so, you have everything you need. If not, all the supplies can be found at your local dollar store. First, we're going to need a plastic cup. You want a cheap, thin-walled plastic cup like this one, sort of one like you might use for punch at a party. This one is 18 ounces. You can use a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, just not too small a cup. Next, you will need a piece of string. This is a thin cotton twine, as you can see. Other types of string might work, but maybe not as well. So I recommend using a thin, fairly thin cotton twine. You will also need a small piece of sponge. About 1 inch by 2 inches, inch by 3 inches. You want to make sure that you can fold the piece of sponge between your thumb and finger and make a V shape like that, because you'll need to do that later. Also, you want to make sure you get cellulose sponge. Cellulose sponge is the kind of sponge like this that has a lot of holes in it, like Swiss cheese or the craters on the moon. Other kinds of sponge may not work as well. You will also need a paper clip, just your ordinary everyday paper clip. And then a couple things you will need to provide. You may want to have a pen or pencil on hand. Doesn't really matter what it is. And then you're going to need some water. So I have a bowl of water here. You'll see we also in your kit included some decorations. So we have some feathers, some little adhesive dots. You may have some that look like this or like this, and some construction paper and a couple of googly eyes to add a little personality to your chicken later. So here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to take our string and we're going to push it from the outside of the cup through the hole into the inside of the cup. So this is where the pencil can come in handy. Just use your pencil point, help push that through. It can be a little tough to get through otherwise, but we're going to push that through that way. Now, we're going to turn the cup over and look inside. We can see the string inside there poking through a little bit. We're going to grab that, we're going to pull it through, pull, pull, pull through, pull through, pull through. Oops, I dropped it in the water a little bit. That's okay. Until we have just a few inches of string left sticking out. Next, we're going to take our paper clip and we're going to slip the string into there and we're going to tie that string onto the paper clip. So now we're going to tie a little knot. Get that one tied off. Okay, now we're going to pull the string through the cup until the paper clip is up against the cup and holding it in place. Now we probably will want to slide this over a little bit so it's now a little more in the middle and it can't go through the hole. Now, believe it or not, your chicken is now complete. But it doesn't have very much personality. It doesn't really look much like a chicken, does it? So now's the time when you can add some decorations. We gave you a few decorations in your kit. You can use your adhesive dots to attach them if you like. We give you some eyes, some construction paper. Feel free to use anything else you have around home as well. Just please do not break or cut the cup in any way, because if you do, the experiment won't work as well. So keep the cup intact, but go ahead and add some decorations. Here's my finished chicken, and you can see she has a little more personality now. She's got some eyes, she's got a beak, and she's got a comb on top of her head. That's what that red part that looks a little bit like the crown on the top of a chicken is called. It's called a comb. Okay, so we've completed our chicken. Now let's see if we can get it to talk to us. So here's how we're going to do that. First of all, you're going to take your piece of sponge, you're going to get it wet. And then you're going to take that sponge, fold it in half, and squeeze out as much water as you can. You want it to be a little bit damp, but you don't want it to be soaking or dripping. So I'm squeezing out as much water as I can, right? Now I have my sponge. Okay, so you're gonna fold your sponge between your thumb and your index finger. This is your index finger, the one next to your thumb. It's also called a pointer finger because you use it to point. You fold your sponge between your thumb and your index finger. You're gonna use it to grip the string just a few inches below the cup. Now, you wanna get a fairly tight grip, but you don't wanna grip so tight that you're gonna break anything. You don't wanna break your chicken, you don't wanna pull the string out, you don't wanna break the string. Tip your fingers a little bit to the side, so you're holding it at an angle. You see that? You see how it's held at an angle? And then you're gonna pull down in a series of short, sharp jerks. Now I'm gonna show you what this looks like without any sound, because I want you to be surprised when you actually do it yourself and you hear the sound. So here we go. Remember? Okay, sound's back. Now we're gonna let you try. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to try it. Okay, how did it work? Did your chicken cluck? I'll show you what it should sound like. And if it didn't sound that way, you can go ahead and try it again until you get the right sound. It takes a little practice to do it right. You see? I told you there was a chicken in this cup. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. First of all, what is sound? Sound is just a series of waves that travels through the air. So it's very similar to if you were to drop a rock into a pond or pool of water, you would see waves or ripples spreading out in all directions. The same thing, if you do something that makes a sound, such as two things hitting together, like that, or something vibrating, like this string, and vibrating means shaking back and forth very, very quickly, it will send out sound waves. Those sound waves go off in all directions. So when you pull on the string with the sponge, it creates sound waves. Those sound waves spread out and they go into your ear. When they go inside your ear, they come into contact with your eardrum, which is a very thin piece of skin that goes across the inside of your ear. They make that eardrum vibrate or move. Remember, vibrate means shake back and forth very quickly. That your eardrum then passes those vibrations on into other parts in your ear. They gradually make their way through your ear until the nerves send the message to your brain. And when that message reaches your brain hears a sound. Now we're gonna try something else. Try taking your string out of your chicken. I happen to have another string right here. Try grabbing it with the sponge and pulling down just like you did on the other string. Do you hear any sound? You probably hear a little bit, but it's not nearly as loud, right? And why is that? Well, that's because if you just pull on the string by itself, only the string is vibrating. The string's pretty small, so it's not going to send out very big sound waves, which means not a very loud sound. But if you attach the string to the cup and you pull on the string from the cup, attached to the cup, now you have the string vibrating. That string also makes the cup vibrate, and it makes all the air inside the cup vibrate. Now you have something much larger than just that little string vibrating. So the sound is amplified, which means it is made bigger and louder. So that's about it for our steam-powered science activity. But I'd encourage you to keep exploring and keep trying this out and see what else you can discover. Try using perhaps a different type of cup, maybe a paper or a styrofoam cup. Replace the string with a different type of string, maybe a different sponge, or maybe even try using other things like a paper towel or your wet fingers to pull on the string and see how that changes the sound. Go ahead and experiment, explore, and see what else you discover. If you'd like to learn more about these topics, we do have a lot of books at the Whittier Public Library that you can come by and borrow. So you could get some books, for example, on sound and learn a little bit more about sound and how it works. You could grab a book of science experiments like this one here. And you can do some more experiments and science activities at home. Or maybe you just want a funny book about chickens. And the great thing about this, when you read this book, you can now add sound effects with your chicken cup. Once again, thank you for joining us today.